Opposition supporters in Belarus have held a mass rally in the capital Minsk 2 weeks after a disputed election gave President Alexander Lukashenko another term in office. Let's speak to Professor Elena Korosteleva, who teaches international politics at the University of Kent. Good to have you on Newsday.
Hello.
Very good morning to you. First of all, what do you know about the latest protests?
Well, yesterday's protest was actually absolutely astounding in terms of the levels of mobilization, in a sense that I think it must have beat all the record that all the previous gatherings had. There were about, by some counting, about 1 million people gathering in Minsk, but also across Belarus. And this is absolutely unprecedented.
You say unprecedented because I was going to ask you if you've ever seen anything like this before.
No. And interestingly enough, my family attended it as well. And they said that it was so arresting, so arousing, so mobilizing. It possibly one of the first in history.
I wonder what the president, I'm asking you to be a mind reader here because you obviously watch events in Belarus quite closely. What's going through his head?
It is difficult to say now because obviously seeing so many people out there asking, demanding him to go, he obviously realizes that all his political legitimacy is now gone.
But does he realize that, do you think, or is he going to try to hang on to power?
Well, he will try to hang on to power, but the only way to do that is through the use of force. And his yesterday's reaction actually proved it. Because, why would a president who won allegedly legitimately with 80% of the vote would run around in his palace with a gun in full military gear and then being whizzed away just as the protesters, peaceful protesters, were passing by? He was whizzed off by the helicopter.
What was he trying to do there? To give a sign of, to do what exactly? To portray himself as a man of the gun? What was he trying to do?
I think he was very, very much frightened. And that's precisely, I think his press office actually reported that he thought he was under attack. Okay. He was going to be attacked.
I need to move on into the significance of the army being brought in to protect national monuments. What's your reading of that?
My reading of that is that possibly Lukashenko is trying to associate himself with all the milestone and achievement of history in Belarus. And this way, because of course, gathering around these monuments is very symbolic and very important for Belarusians, who as a nation suffered a great deal over centuries. So protecting monuments was very much a symbolic gesture, although that was still levied against the very peaceful protests that we observe now.
Right, and I need you to teach me this as a professor of international politics, briefly if you can. Russia's role in all this. Where does Russia fit into this Belarusian equation?
Russia's role is very important at this moment of time because the president appealed to Putin on several occasions. And at some point, he was even emboldened by whatever response he might have received because the gathering of military force is a testimony to that. But at the same time, we haven't really seen any official statements coming from Russia, which is possibly a good sign, because at this moment of time, I think probably Russia is waiting to judge about the level of protest and the level of political legitimacy of Lukashenko.
So it's also keeping an eye on things. Thank you very much for your time this morning. Professor Elena Korosteleva, who teaches international politics at the University of Kent.
This is News.